I'm Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 163 with Estelle. We're trying this again. I read The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. You may have read it this summer. Hi, Rebecca, again. You've already heard this pitch. I read this book, Bright River. I think she writes really compelling books that talk about hello again.
Hello again. I swear I'm not touching anything. I'm just holding
It
it.
just like froze. And
I
then,
know.
so anyway, I was like, okay, we're going to start over. Everyone doesn't want to watch me go, where are you? How are you? Are you frozen? What's going on? So,
That's fine with me. That's fine. Just putting the light on here.
yeah.
Little light. Little
Yes.
light. Let there be
Hmm.
light. Okay.
Yeah. It is nice, a little light. I have a little light. It'll probably turn off about halfway through, but right now it's working. Um, so anyway, Estelle, thank you for joining me. I'm so grateful you're here.
Thank you.
Hello again, Rebecca.
Hello.
Um, is there anything you would like to say before you read your poem?
Oh, Uh, no, just so great to be here with you, to be doing this. It really brought up a lot of emotions. I'm not frozen yet, right? I'm okay.
No,
I'm still
you're
okay.
good.
Wonderful. I see some
I
lovely
know, right?
writing
Isn't
ladies
it
from the
great?
community. Hannah, Rebecca, it's
Yeah,
so nice. It's
it
so
is.
great. And I love what you do. I love that I'm number 163.
I know. I can't believe it.
This is great. And
It's the
I
same with
really
your
had fun
podcast,
writing
Estelle.
it. It
Okay.
brought up a lot of stuff. It brought up a lot. So
Yeah.
writing it.
Yeah.
I'm working on a memoir, so this is all really helpful. So thank you for this opportunity, and I'm just so happy to be there.
I'm I'm grateful you're here, and I agree. We can talk about it more after your
Yes.
poem, but I think that the prompt is really powerful in getting into places that we remember but forgot we remember.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely. So whenever you're ready
I'm
for me to
ready.
begin.
I'm always
Okay.
ready.
Okay. Here we are. Okay. I'm from a pink polyester pantsuit sewn in home ec, worn in the fashion show, surrounded by a sea of plaid. From Love's Baby Soft and Bon Bell Lip Smackers, I am from the split level Long Island suburban enclave with a plastic covered couch we were not allowed to sit on, running with a posse of latchkey kids trampling carefully tended gardens with our kids. I am from blowing at fuzzy pussy willows to see the soft silver tufts that feel like fur soar. The ones left start to bloom, insulated from the cold. I'm from focusing on education to get ahead and reading fantasy books in my room, the ones to escape the chaos of family drama. I am from make sure you're back home in time for dinner, and there's no such thing as boring. There's only boring people. I'm Jewish from Poland and Hungary, formed out of the DNA of Holocaust surviving Greeners, my mother Miriam and her parents, and my dad Jerry and his parents, here for 2 generations. I'm from Cholent, a magical stew served only when sick, and bells, layers of cake topped with delectable cream frosting, sourced by my dad from a bakery in Queens, also known oddly as frogs. I'm from lying on the grass with my sister and watching the clouds form, competing in staircase Olympics, and playing concoction, mixing together combinations like pickle juice and ketchup when we were close. I'm from Monopoly games that my dad won and got animated during, numbed by the rigors of advanced Alzheimer's. He is never to be animated again. I'm from the lamp topped with figurines of a boy and a girl, siblings we imagined, in a half embrace. We always put a penny on the boy's outstretched palm as a reminder of the togetherness of family. And my treasured birthday card from my boisterous maternal grandma, Jenny, who fled a war-torn country to save her family. In the card, she wrote, "People should be kind to you. You can achieve this with your own personality." Prescient advice to live by from a true survivor.
Thank you, Estelle. How beautiful. There
Thank you.
was so much in there that I relate to and wanted, and felt connection to and wanted to know more about, and also that made me smile and laugh. And so many evocative and visceral, like specific memories. I can imagine you. I will put a written copy of her poem in this live after it goes live. Someone just asked in the chat, so there will be the copy of the poem. I can imagine you in your pink polyester suit, and I just love it. It seems like a scene out of a television show, about like childhood, or it made me think of Dairy Girls. I don't know if you ever watched that, but like
No.
those girls, they're so full of moxie, and it just made me think of them for some reason. And they live in, Northern Ireland, not here. They live in Derry, but it made me just think of that sort of, I just all the hope and passion and like belief we have in ourselves when we're young girls that we try to hold on to or rebuild as
Yes,
women.
yes, yes. I was always very optimistic and
Yeah.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, life has a way of challenging some of your assumptions and
Yes.
relationships, and especially as parents age, get infirm,
Yeah.
siblings get distant and divorced and resentful and all that stuff. So and I know that that's something that you are
Yeah.
connected to.
Yeah. Yeah. And the line, just the memories with your sister, and then when we were close, like such a gut punch, because I think a lot of us can relate to that, whether I'm estranged from a couple of my brothers, or even if you are still in relationship with them, but it's difficult to be close sometimes for like you say, a variety of reasons.
Yeah, especially when you're navigating different phases of life
Yeah.
and relationship. Yeah,
And you grow and you evolve in not necessarily the same direction.
definitely. And you never think about that when you're young. You just
No.
think of the play and the creative times together and the dreaming. And that, I'll always keep that in my heart. It was always very momentous and at the time.
Yeah. It's something we talk about. We just had a sibling loss book club last night, and so we were really talking about it with it's a different I'm estranged. I have a brother who died, and I'm estranged, and they're very different experiences. Um,
Definitely.
you know.
And with my dad, it was hard to excavate all the things that I wanted to put in there. I mean, I love
Yeah.
music and I want to put something in songs, but I had to really pick and choose. And it was
Yeah.
important to me to get in, about the sibling relationship, about my dad, about the history, the family history.
Yeah.
And so some of the things had to be left by the wayside. But
Mhm.
like, I see that you do one every year.
Here.
Or
Yeah.
every few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great
It is.
exercise, even if it's not aired, for somebody
Yeah.
to, get that material out there. I think it's wonderful. And, I listened to and watched a lot of them before, and everyone has their own style and
I
their
know.
own way of sharing their truths. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to listen and watch and then just share my truth the best way that I know how.
Yeah. I love it so much because I've always felt like, oh, we all have stories that are important. I think because sometimes there's this belief by some people that there's some like hierarchy that this is more interesting or more important or whatever. And I think, yeah, like you say, everyone has a unique way of approaching it and telling their story, and everyone has a story,
Yeah.
and
And a
it's
voice.
important.
I,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
that's important. I just think that you can learn from what went before
For
you, but
sure.
then you have to put your own temperature on it.
Yes. So how did you make you lip smackers made it, which is
Yeah.
important.
You know what?
Yes, they were very important.
I was doing research, so I couldn't remember at first. I was like, what was that thing that I used to have with me all
Around
the time?
your neck.
Yeah.
Didn't they have
I,
little, you know,
different
whatever
flavors, different,
lanyards
yeah, the
that you could?
lanyards, the flavors. There was another one that I did too that I used to use was like the kissing potion, you know, the gloppy one. But I thought the lip smacker sounded better. I had to make
Yeah.
some
And the
choices.
smell, I think, is very like those smells of those lip smackers are for anyone who
Yeah,
interacted with them we remember
yeah.
it. You know, where
And if I was
the
and if I
goopy
was going to
one.
talk about, oh, I'm
No, go
sorry. If
ahead.
I
The
was,
goopy one just reminds me of the rolling back and forth of the like, that was the best
yeah,
part of that.
it takes you into a different sensory experience.
Hmm.
And then I probably would have had to say something about kissing, and I was like, I'm not going to go in that direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Love's Baby Stuff. I mean, that was my fragrance. You know, there are probably some other ones I wore as well, but that's the one that I remember.
Hmm.
And that's the most, you know, teenage,
Hmm.
pre-teenage girl one
Hmm.
that I can think of from that time that I was wearing. I mean, I think there was like Charlie, but like I was trying to be like older when I wore it, and
Yeah, that
so
was
it
definitely
wasn't really
for,
for me. Yeah.
yeah, no. I mean, the ad campaign certainly wasn't for us either. It's for,
Right, right. And
I don't know who,
so,
working
you know, it's just
women.
working women. Yeah, yeah, it was like you can bring it up, fry it up in a pan or something. I don't know if that was the one.
Yeah, I think it was.
But
Yeah.
that
Charlie lets
definitely,
your man know you're a
yeah,
woman or something. Hmm.
yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely remember
Hmm.
that ad campaign and
Oh, yeah.
maybe even trying it, but like that wasn't my go-to.
Right.
And then and then like just remembering things from, you know,
Yeah.
lying on my back and looking at the
Mm.
clouds. I mean, when was the last time I did that? I can't even like remember. Maybe when my daughter was young. I mean, she's a
Yeah.
teenager now. She's
Yeah.
15. So that's, yeah, we're not lying on the grass together looking at the clouds.
I loved that though. That was another scene for me. You know, there's the pink polyester suit and then laying on your back looking at the clouds with your sister. I love how in the poem there are these moments, oftentimes these scenes that are just a few words, but they really transport you.
Yeah. I knew that I was going to start with the pink polyester. It's just kind of, I don't
Mm.
know, that's sort of like my brand, and it was even back then. Not polyester, but you know, pink and
Uh,
you know, I wrote a
mhm.
book called Writing That Gets Noticed. I mean, it's about getting
Right.
noticed. So
Right.
like
Hmm.
it didn't come out of the blue. It's been a part of my persona for as long as I can remember. And I just didn't care that, you know, there was a sea of plaids because that's not how you get noticed by being one of many in a sea of plaids.
I think
So
also it's beautiful because you own pink. Because I mean, I feel like there's always this kind of, especially then, like this discourse. I wonder, you look like you're wearing pink. Um,
I don't know how much would
yeah,
show. I have
is there just like, you know, this discourse about like owning our femininity or not, you know, and just whenever I wear pink, I do feel this kind of like, oh, like I'm owning this, like my womanhood, and it
yeah.
feels good. I like
Yeah.
it.
You know
So
what's
I love that too.
interesting? You know what's interesting? My favorite color used to be red.
Uh-huh.
And that's like, you know, the bull comes in red. And I don't feel like that anymore. I'm more pink now.
Mm, yeah.
So maybe that's more trust in the universe. I don't know.
I hope
I don't have,
so. I hope that comes with age and time. Just a little more grace.
yeah, a little grace. I think it does. I
Yeah.
mean, you just sort of know what you know,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And it's not like I still have a creative and a beginner mindset when it comes to my work and working with other writers. But in terms of life experience, I would say that I'm not looking to um, be taught, you know,
Yeah.
to not, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've
I mean,
had
I'm
to
not looking for relationships where someone's telling me how to
apply.
be. you know.
right, for someone's
Yeah.
approval or for, I'm not looking to necessarily be liked for other than who I am. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
I do. I was talking with a friend just recently and she was having, some friend thing. And I just said, just like embrace you that you're weird. Like I'm weird. It's helped me a lot. And I think we're all weird in some way. And just kind of
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm not for everyone. And that's okay. I don't need to be for everyone. Everyone isn't for me.
I love that. And like in my heart of hearts, I am the nerdy girl, with dark
Yeah.
hair, sitting in her room, reading fantasy books
I
and
love that
having like
too.
a fake book report club with me as the only member. Like this is like this is the
Yeah.
essence of who
Yeah.
I am on a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
levels. And I think it
Mhm.
helps my daughter because
Yeah.
I can tell her about like it's okay to march to your own drummer, um,
Absolutely.
and then you don't
Yes.
get caught up in peer pressure.
Yeah.
Which I mean, she's her
Yeah.
own person. She's a Taurus, so if you know about astrology, she's definitely her own person. But
Good for her.
it
That's
helps.
that's not easy at 15, so good for her.
I know. And so, yeah, she's just starting to delve into the things of life, like relationships
Yep.
and dating and the stuff that, kind of could be precarious areas, but I feel like she has a good sense of self, better than I did at her age.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd like to think my children do too, just because hopefully they're not, you walking through as much bullshit.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, I hope that, there's more space for them to be themselves. I was just really trying to figure out how to live in a family where I didn't feel at ease,
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out how to find safety, which was not gonna happen. But I
Yeah.
was trying really hard.
Yeah. And I think I escaped into my imagination
Yeah,
to like,
yeah.
get away from family drama, which I
Mm-hmm.
know every family has it. But
And I think so, yes.
yeah.
Yes. And I think especially like at the latchkey kid thing, I just loved that, like in your kids. And I think, oh God, I mean, my mom was there, so I was not a latchkey kid. And so many, many kids came to my house. But
Yeah.
just that kind of roaming
Yeah.
around, like the things that we amused ourselves with,
That
I,
I would never let my daughter do, like
well,
if
and wouldn't be
any.
amusing, I don't think, even like
Right.
we were just bored. And oh, the thing about not being, you can't be bored. There's only boring people. I'm butchering it, but
The theme of
oh
my life.
God,
Yeah.
so funny. And there's a few times when I've been tempted to say it, and I'm like, no, don't say it. Don't think it. It's not helpful. But just that kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
I
just,
never let my daughter say I'm bored. Like I always would say that to her because I thought it was very useful. It's like you're bored, make something happen. You know?
yeah, yeah. And they have phones.
Yeah.
So we just had landlines with really long cords. Um,
I know the phone. I mean, I remember the princess
oh,
phone that I used to
wow.
pull into
So
my
good.
closet.
Hmm.
That was
Yes.
fun.
Yes. And when call waiting came along, I mean, these were really exciting discoveries for us.
This
Party line. Oof.
Oh my God. I remember call waiting and
Yeah.
being like, I
Yeah.
can't even believe that, like, you don't have to worry that, while you're on a phone or somebody's on a phone, that somebody's calling and
Hmm.
never going to get through. Like, it was a miracle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much how kids today look at Snapchat, I guess.
Yeah. It was mind blowing. I
Yeah.
There was a lot of excitement around it,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
first cordless phone. Anyway, it was a beautiful. I really enjoyed it, Estelle,
Thank
and then
you.
I mean, took a tone change and you started talking about your family history, and
Yeah.
which I think is so important because we carry that with us, no matter what that history is, and
Yeah.
I think it helps to acknowledge it and appreciate it, and also the tragedy that they lived through and built a life out of. But still, that I mean, that tragedy I'd like to say it's inconceivable, but it's not, sadly.
Yeah. And I grew up distant from like the idea of greeners
Hmm.
because we were already, ensconced. But
Yeah,
when my mother and her parents came, that was what they were. New to the
yeah,
country, didn't speak English.
yeah, yeah.
Big transition.
Yes, yeah. And leaving behind home, I read a lot of literature, by people who were immigrated or were refugees, or because I think in small ways, many of us can relate to not feeling at ease in our lives. And that's like on a huge scale,
Yeah.
leaving your home behind, and potentially, and oftentimes it's not there for you to ever return to, and the
Definitely.
heartbreak of that. Like, even if you survive,
Yeah.
it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They could never go back.
Right.
That was an impossibility. But, they took home with them in their own
Yeah.
way. My grandmother was a dressmaker. She had had a thriving business in Poland
Mm-hmm.
when they left.
Mm-hmm.
But she ended up working as a dressmaker for other people.
Oh,
She even made a dress for Julie Andrews at one point.
that must have been pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Julie Andrews seems like a lovely person. Like, whenever I see things of her, I don't know if she actually is, but I hope that working with her was enjoyable.
Yeah, I don't know that she really got to hang with
Hmm.
her. I
She just
think
got
it
to
was like,
make it.
like an assignment or job, and she did it. I don't
Yeah.
think she ever really spoke with
Okay.
her.
Are
Maybe it was
there any
through.
pictures of the
There
dress?
are not pictures, but there are pictures of my grandmother's clothing. She had made clothing for me, this beautiful little red dress, and with a matching hat. Oh, she was really talented. I remember her sewing. I remember her sewing machine. I have no domestic talents whatsoever, so none of that transferred. But she always was very talented with that. Yeah, but no, there were no pictures except for the dresses she made for my mother, and
And that's love, making clothes for people. It's like cooking for them, or I don't know,
yeah,
writing them a poem. I mean, there's all kinds of love, but
yeah,
that tangible love is
it's
that you can
that.
touch. And mhm.
Yes, the tactileness of it, and I just remember, her mouth holding the sewing pins and just leaning over the machine, and I just thought, wow, she really loves me. She's making this for me special. Yeah,
That's sweet. What was her name?
Grandma Jenny, Jenny.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was really, really special to me.
that's
Um,
wonderful.
yeah, so yeah, but both sets of grandparents are long gone now, but
Yeah,
they definitely left an imprint on my heart.
yeah. I think that's a wonderful thing when we have elders in our life that show us how to love.
Yes, and because grandparents are a little bit distant from the whole situation of
Yes,
raising kids,
yes.
so I think they could even be